The Orange finished the season 23-14, and what a fantastic run it was. Fans and players alike have nothing to hang their heads about. We'll talk about the 69-65 loss to Duke. We'll check in with Cuse Nation and see what they had to say after the game, and look at the roster heading into next year. Let's go.
Make some noise, Orange fans. It's time for the Cuse Nation podcast with Sean and Joe. Give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/Cuse Nation podcast.
But these guys have, they've had an incredible end of the year. I've never been any more proud of a team for what they've done in this last 10 days to go and play in that first game and be able to get that, and then to beat TCU and Michigan State. These guys have a tremendous amount of courage. Nothing phases them. Tonight, things weren't going our way for a long time, but they just kept coming back. And Duke I think is a great basketball team. They've got as good an offensive team as you're going to find. And we've done a very good job with them both games. But tonight we were better offensively, just not quite good enough. Obviously, with this group, I think that sometimes, we forget that we had 7 guys, and one of them has got a bad knee. So for these guys to do what they've done, I think it's an amazing thing. And our defense has been good all year, but in this tournament, it's funny. Everybody just keeps missing against us. We just must be really lucky. Because I'm sure if we just snuck this game out, which we had a chance, it would have been because they didn't shoot well. Just like Michigan State didn't shoot well, and just like TCU didn't shoot well, and Arizona State didn't shoot well. These guys did it. It wasn't any team playing bad or shooting bad. Good teams that shoot 40% from the three don't shoot 25% from the three unless you make them. Unless you get them away from the shots they want to take. And these guys have done that for 4 straight games. And I don't think you can give them enough credit for what they've done defensively. But what these guys have accomplished, I don't think you can give them enough credit to be able to beat the teams we've beaten and play the defense the way we've played it. 4 teams in a row don't shoot bad. Maybe 1 or 2, but 4, I don't think so. So these guys deserve an awful lot of credit. I'm really proud of these guys. They've done just about everything you could hope for. And it's been all year. It's been 7 guys all year. It hasn't been just a few games. It's been all year. And they deserve an unbelievable amount of credit. Thank you.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself. What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Nation podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. I know I said this in the last show, but thanks again to all who listen. The audience just keeps growing, and we couldn't be more appreciative for your listenership. You make the show worth doing, and especially all those on social media, Facebook most notably. I can't express enough how much we love the interactions, the shares, the likes, the comments. And it's been a great year. It was exciting, and Joe and I couldn't ask for much more, although we hope we grow and continue on. But, all right, the Orange went down swinging in the Sweet 16 against Duke, losing 69-65 in front of 17,399 fans at CenturyLink Center in Omaha. Battle led all scorers with 19. He was 7 for 15 from the floor, 4 for 8 from 3, and 1 for 3 from the line. Brissett followed him up with 15, 5 for 15 from the field, 0 for 3 from behind the arc, and 5 for 6 from the free throw line. His performance could easily be overshadowed, though, missing 2 easy dunks and dropping the ball of another. Howard led Syracuse with 8 rebounds. He had 5 assists, but only managed to score 6 points total, 4 of those coming at the free throw line. And the kid who grabbed the hearts of Syracuse fans this year DJ finished with 13 points. Marek, a timid shooter in the regular season. However, he scored 67 points in postseason play, truly coming into his own. Bagley led Duke with 22 points and 8 rebounds. He shot 66% from the floor. Allen was only 3 for 14 from deep, but he did finish with 15 points. The Orange were out-rebounded 37-33. And finally, Syracuse turned the ball over 16 times, resulting in 18 points for the Blue Devils. Duke had 7 turnovers, resulting in 8 points for Syracuse. Joe, in a tight game like this, there's always a bunch of things to look back on in retrospect that could be attributed to a loss, but if I had to pick one thing, it's probably the turnovers. I think that was the biggest difference. You just can't turn the ball over 16 times against teams like Duke. Most notable, Moyer, his turnover at the end of the first half, with a chance to take the last shot of the half. What do you think?
Well, sometimes it's not necessarily the amount of turnovers that you have. It's more like comparative to what the other team had. I don't think it would have been – if we had 16 turnovers and then we forced Duke into 14 or 12 or something like that, then I think, it evens itself out. But the fact that Duke only having 7 turnovers and I think we had 16. So, that's pretty much, if you look at the numbers, we pretty much had them everywhere that we usually want them, except for maybe some free throws. You could have shot some better on the free throw line. I know Battle missed 2. Howard missed 1 and a front end of 1-and-1. So if you want to look for a real small thing, then, making some free throws would have probably put us in a situation where we would have been closer at the end and wouldn't have gotten stuck with the whole being down 3 and getting fouled. Because once you're down 3 and there's just not enough time, teams are going to do that and they're going to foul you, make you go to the line for 2. So you can't get that 3-point play. So a couple of free throws here and there would have probably taken us out of that position to where we would have been able to probably had the ball with 1 shot and a chance to tie or win, instead of being down 4 in the situation we were. So it was definitely the turnovers and the fact that we didn't force enough from them and score enough off of their turnovers. So that was basically it. We pretty much have played the same way that we've been playing throughout the tournament. Obviously, giving up a couple more points than we have, but it's Duke. So we definitely play better on the offense, and I would like to maybe see O'Shea Brissett play shoot a little bit better percentage. And I don't know what's been going on with Frank Howard in this tournament and scoring, but he hasn't really been there.
He's one of the only guys really not to make much of a difference in any of the games, I would have to say. He got
a little lob happy too.
He got a little lob happy, and I was, the first couple worked, and then after that, it was just kind of a disaster, to be honest with you. What were they one time, like 2 for 6 or something like that on the lob pass?
Yeah, well, he was trying it out in front of the defense past the 3-point line. Like that's not going to be a very high percentage play. So especially with Chuku in his hands.
Yeah, well, he nabbed a couple of them, but
he nabbed a couple of them, but all those were pretty close. So
yeah,
he missed one too.
He did miss one. And as far as the defense goes, I thought it was another stellar game for the defense. The defense kept us in the game again. It was just not enough offense, even though it was better, obviously, than last time. I think the
rebound surprised me.
Yeah, the rebound surprised me. Being a neutral court and all, that probably helped out a little bit. But
field goal percentage, we almost shot 50%. So, again, it just comes down to the turnovers. It's just that was what it was. Some people I saw on social media wanted to blame the refs, especially in the first half, because of the discrepancy of fouls and stuff like that. But at the same time, if you go back and look, we also settled for a lot of jumpers, and we weren't as aggressive as we were in the second half. And when we started playing like that, you could see that that we started getting the calls just like Duke was getting. So.
Yeah, there was a couple like blatant over the backs, and then there was a blatant travel, like things that are like clear cut. When that stuff's missed, that's what irks me. And there was a couple of those, and Bagley, he came up off the ground.
They had a couple of plays where they had really difficult time figuring out who the ball went off of.
Yeah.
So. I
Well,
thought Chukwu got hit in the face on on one of those alley-oops that he probably should have got an and one. I mean, there was some stuff, but not enough in this close of a game to say, that they ruined it for him.
no, well, they only shot, what was it,
17.
64% from 64.7% from the free throw line. They missed
11 of 17.
Yeah, 11 to 17. So, I mean, if you get a couple points there, I mean, like you mentioned, they shot 49% from the floor. I think that's really good.
Yeah, well, they hit a couple more. Like I said, they hit a couple more free throws, and it puts us in a position where, Duke can't follow us and put us at the free throw line because we're down 3 or 4.
Yeah. Well, Battles, I think for the year he's like 84% from the line, and he went 33% last night. I know it was only 3, but he missed 2 of them. So in the front end of the 1-and-1 by Howard, so
right.
Those were clutch free throws, and it's a game changer that late. But overall, though, the biggest shift came from the turnovers, and you just got to take care of the ball. And there was a couple 50-50 balls that Duke they won those battles, and the little things like that Duke did helped seal the victory for them. Not a great copycat job though. It fired the team up, but not a great copycat job on the jacket throw, in my opinion. It was a little weak. I mean, I wasn't very.
I don't know what he was
so
so upset about. To me, it was way too early in the game to get that upset. But
yeah, I think it was he was trying to hype him
more
up
of a motivational tactic. Yeah,
yeah, totally.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
What about your grade, Joe? What about your grade?
I didn't really think about it. I'd probably have to say probably a B plus.
Okay. All right.
I think that's fair. I think considering the opponent, I mean, probably could have gave him an A minus, honestly, because I honestly think that they played as good a defense as you're going to play against those type of guys, especially the way that those. I mean, I know Bagley and Carter were the reason they won last night, but they were the reason that they beat us by 16 at Cameron Indoor the first time. Our offense played a lot better this time. And we left a lot out there. We left, obviously, the turnovers. Brissett missed a dunk. Chukwu missed a dunk. Howard
missed
just
2
hasn't.
dunks.
Yeah, Howard hasn't been himself as far as scoring, with the free throws and stuff. The way that we were playing last night on offense, I thought that we could have and probably should have scored in the 70s. And it was on us. But, again, like what Boeheim talked about is you have to put it in perspective as far as – that we're only going with 7, and 4 of these 7 are freshmen or guys that haven't really even been a big part or had a starting role. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
it's that's what happens sometimes.
Yeah,
so
and it wasn't a fatigue issue, just in one of those close games. And you've said all year, keep the games close and have a shot at the end, and that's what they did. They had themselves in position. They just came up short. But there's nothing to be. I mean, you can be disappointed. It was a tough loss. It's a hard pill to swallow, obviously, but you can't be mad about it. This team, I love this team. I think they're great. Most of them are coming back, I feel, and we'll go over that too. But I think B plus. I think that's fair for a neutral game against an opponent like that. Another ACC game, and the ACC games are always, those are all they know us. Coach K knows. Coach K knows us, and
similar opponent.
Yeah, exactly.
They've seen us already. So again, like you said, just heart, and then they're just a great team to watch. Great coaching job by Boeheim to be able to realize his personnel and how they have to play the game based upon their personnel and their limitations to be able to compete. And again, like you said it perfectly. It was more or less, grind it out, defensive, keep it close, and hopefully you can, make a couple plays at the end of the game to win. And that's pretty much how a lot of the games have been, almost all of them. So
yeah, and so you win some and you lose some, but
yeah.
But
and when they embraced that is when they started playing like this. And some of those games, that's when they did. I
think confidence was high. I think they had that going for them,
right.
even after losing to North Carolina in the ACC tournament. They still had the confidence going into the NCAA tournament, and after getting the bid that reaction in the locker room, I think that psyched them up, man. I think it psyched them up. So, a great season. I loved covering this basketball season. This is our second basketball season on the show, but we were in the NIT last year, and we just weren't really feeling it on the show. In the show, I mean, it was a little tough, but I'm just it was a lot of fun, and it's just great. It's great. So
good run.
Yeah, good run, and I am. They deserve a ton of credit, like Coach says. All right, Duke has the advantage in the series all-time 7-5. Battle finished the season with 712 points, only second to Dave Bing in Syracuse history for a sophomore. His 19.3 scoring average was the highest since Hakeem Warwick. He had 21.4 points in 2005. All 2018 NCAA tournament games for Syracuse were decided by 5 or fewer points. Coach K leads Division I basketball in the NCAA tournament with wins at 94, and Boeheim is fourth with 56. All right, Facebook.com/Cuse Nation podcast. Thumb us up there, and at Cuse Nation Show on Twitter. So, fan reaction after the game. Jim from Facebook, I'm so proud of these guys. They took Duke right down to the final buzzer. It could have gone either way. Congrats for a great run in the tournament. Yeah, that's the attitude I think most SU fans should have.
Who's that, Jim Boeheim?
Yeah, right. He's absolutely right. We talked about it, the tight games. Give him a shot at the end. Jimmy says the 315 is beyond proud of these kids and the heart and fight in them. They never give up when their backs are against the wall. Great finish, boys, and thank you for everything. Definitely a great season, and there's a lot of great moments in this season, and a couple bad ones, but none terrible. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
Right?
But this kind of fan feedback and this run is exactly why you should go into the season and look at the season like we do. Just one game at a time and stay positive until you're mathematically out of it. Anything can happen because look at, there were so many naysayers and so many, NIT bound, this and that. And now, look at it. Now it's nothing but, we made a run, made it to the Sweet 16, gave Duke all that they could handle. And everyone is just so proud of them. And this is one of those things where you just got to get to the tournament. It doesn't matter how the regular season looks. You just got to get to the tournament, man.
Absolutely. And I think it's best to be that way. It's best to be up. Why do you want to follow a team and fill yourself with negativity? That's no fun at all. That's no fun at all. No. But there is Dre, though. And Dre says, we played terrible, 16 turnovers, missed dunks, should have won by 10+ in typical Syracuse fashion. All 8 players will declare for the NBA draft next week.
Wow.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
I guess his expectations for the team were pretty high.
Yeah, exactly.
Considering he thinks all of them are going to the NBA.
Yeah. So. Sager, the sad part is we really could have won. Looking forward to next year. I wonder if Brissett and Battle will be here. Touch on that, Joe. I think we're going to go over this in the next segment. We're gonna break up the players and give them a little shout out and see where we're going to end.
Well, I can touch on that a little bit. The fact that that's every single game. Yeah. As far as her comment that she said, every single game we were in it. We could have won pretty much almost every single game this season. There's something, whether it was turnovers or free throws or rebounds, or there's always something. One main thing that we just didn't do good that game.
Field goal percentage, yeah.
Right, something, So.
Yeah. Ray says these guys. Ray says these guys played hard, missed opportunity, but it was a great year. They weren't supposed to be any good. Great season. Love the heart. We'll get them next year. Thanks, guys. That was kind of the vibe I got. Nate says turnovers and missed free throws cost us the game, but these guys fought hard till the end, showed a lot of heart, and I can't wait till next season. I think that's a common sentiment that the people that know. That are in tune with probably who's going to be coming back and the recruiting class coming in. It's going to be exciting when basketball season starts to approach next year. It's going to get exciting. And don't ever set the expectations too high. But one thing is for sure, that next year, assuming everybody stays healthy, there will be a bench next year. Okay.
Yeah,
So
there will
we
be.
have that. That's a fact. Heather says this team has grown and learned so much this season. Hold your heads high, Cuse, for a job well done. You keep us in it and made the tournament fun. Congratulations. Rico says, great tournament, Orange. Thanks for the great memories this year, especially being my graduation year. Go Cuse. Congratulations on the graduation.
The tournament was definitely more entertaining this year than last year, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Alan, great year for a very young team with tons of adversity. This run will help future recruiting. Future looks bright. I'm with you, Alan. Michael says, okay, going for stupid slam dinks and alley-oops worked out bad. I'm just reading what he put.
I know.
We killed Duke, D-O-O-K, on regular shots. Had them. Okay. Cube says, great run in the tournament, Cuse. Fast pace to start the game. Great rhythm. Lost in the second half. Poor guys looked exhausted. I disagree. I don't think they were exhausted. I don't know.
They've been used to that all year.
Yeah,
if there's any type of exhaustion, it's just exhaustion from the
disappointment.
The whole season, but disappointment as well, but the whole season,
Yeah.
It's a long season. It's a lot of minutes to put on people.
Right. A couple Duke fans came to our page. Jared says, as a Duke fan, you guys played great tonight. It was good playing against you guys. Good game, Syracuse. Great sportsmanship there. We appreciate that. I didn't find any trolls from Duke, so that's cool, even though I'd be fine if I did. Antonio, I'm a huge Duke fan, but I also always have loved Syracuse since Billy Owens. Orange played a great damn good season this year. This team should be proud of themselves. It's bittersweet in this house tonight. Fred says, thank you for a great season. You showed the world what playing with heart is all about. Never quit, and I'll never quit cheering you on. That's the attitude. Okay, on Twitter, at rtenian2110 says, good. I mean, great game. Syracuse played their ass off. That's my brother. He's a Duke fan. But, they did. They played their ass off, and they gave – I'm sure my brother was sweating bullets at one point. There's no doubt about it.
Come on.
There's no doubt about it.
There's no doubt there was sweaty palms.
Absolutely. At Kembury, what a ride. Wish it wasn't over. I'm going to miss this so much. Good night. At J Bonafide, it's okay. The run was fun and unexpected. And this nucleus plus a great recruiting class coming in. Let's go.
Yeah.
At Lomi Cuse fan, I do think it's a mistake if we don't add a big. Hope Barama gets through his surgery okay. I mean, we got two of them, and I think they're going to be better next year. And with the surgery, I think Barama, he's going to be. We haven't gotten to really see what he can do. I don't think.
Right.
Because he's been injured for so long. So.
Well, it's only time will tell. I'm sure that they're going to look into it, and we get more information here as the summer goes along. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's it for the fan feedback on this game, our last basketball fan feedback of the year. Go to facebook.com/Cuse Nation podcast and at Cuse Nation on Twitter. All right, Joe, we're going to go through this real quick. We'll make this quick and painless, but we're going to look ahead to next season, and we're going to see, we're going to start with Tyus Battle because he's really the only question, in my opinion. I mean, someone can make the case for Brissett. I'm sure he might put his feelers out. But Tyus Battle, Joe, we've seen him in the mock draft this week. But I also read that I think it was Brent Axe was told by an NBA scout that no one's considering him seriously. What do you think? He doesn't get an agent and he goes and works out?
That's probably the smartest thing for him to do. I know a lot of coaches encourage it because you get to go out and kind of go through the process, get familiar with it, and you don't have to put your name out there. But also you do get those interviews with teams where a lot of times teams will possibly, lie to kids and talk about, maybe falsify a little bit of the information of how interested some other people are. And some kids get forced into that. And there's kids that leave early every year that don't get drafted. So I just hope he doesn't fall into that trap. I mean, they do make money, but it all depends on how you want to look at it. I mean, the last 2 years we've had players in Tyler Lydon and Malachi Richardson where they were looked at as higher picks and looked at as more sought out at this point in their seasons when they left, and they ended up getting drafted late in the first round, and they've pretty much been in the G League playing for the whole season. So
yeah, well, I saw
it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough, and you don't know how you're going to land, and you've really got to be good. I mean, the competition's stiff, man.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I just only hope that he's not in a hurry, and that he likes school, and that he doesn't mind coming back, and he realizes the opportunity that they might have.
Yeah, absolutely. Next, I said Frank Howard. He'll be coming back. He's a junior. He'll be a senior next year. So Frank, improved dramatically since last year. I think he kind of plateaued this year. He was allowed to actually have a chance to recover from his mistakes a little bit this year with a thin bench. So I think that gave him confidence that he was able to play through some mistakes this year, and he was definitely improved. But he kind of plateaued. But go ahead.
Yeah, you don't know if he's going to have that freedom next year with some of the guys coming in. But I mean, from like you said, from his first 2 years to this year, the leaps and bounds that fans saw him take, I think that there's a lot of people that are comfortable with the fact that he's going to be coming back as a senior point guard, coming into next year. So,
yeah, absolutely. So, and that's pretty much a lock. So, O'Shea Brissett's another one, I guess. Maybe you're hearing in the rumor mill about him taking off and trying to do the NBA thing. I guess he'll probably do the exact same thing Tyus is what we think Tyus is going to do, not get an agent and go through the motions.
He might.
What do you think, Joe?
He might. I think he actually probably had the best showing other than, last night with Duke, but throughout the whole tournament, he looked more like the better NBA prospect than anybody else on our team. But again, from listening to interviews, didn't seem like he was really interested in. I mean, I don't want to say interested. I'm sure that, he'll figure it out, probably talk to Coach. Coach will probably explain some stuff to him. But, I mean, based upon a lot of the stuff that I've heard, he plans on coming back next year. So unless there's some dramatic change between then and now, the draft, or between now and the draft, then I would expect him to be back.
Yeah, and, he's going to be integral.
A force.
If he comes back, he won't. That'll be it. If O'Shea comes back, he's done after that. After his sophomore year, in my opinion.
Most likely.
All right, next, let's see. Let's do Pascal Chukwu, tallest player in Syracuse history at 7'2". He has always been borderline for me. Like, you don't know which Pascal you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get the Pascal that's 10 inches from the rim and tries to lay it in off the glass? Or are you gonna get the one who just wants to rip the rim off?
Well, I think that we're looking at. I think we've seen, like you said, we've seen glimpses of real good play, and then we've seen what in the world is that?
It's the hands, though, Joe. It's the hands.
But that's what it is, because there's a lot of. He's not going to put on weight. I mean, you just look at people.
Right.
I mean, you can argue that putting on weight probably doesn't help his knees. Doesn't help. I mean, the big guys can't put on weight like so. As far as his stature, it is what it is. But when he's good, he's good. And like you said, I would work on with him more or less just the more mental aspect of the game and his hands.
Yeah, hands.
If he works on his hands, and he can get real strong hands in the off season and just work a little bit more on his mental aspect. Maybe slow the game down when he has the ball, or he gets the ball down low, so that he can maybe make some more baskets after he gets offensive rebounds and stuff. He's not just scoring up dunks. Then I'm completely happy with him because of what he does to the defense in the middle. His defensive presence in the middle is ridiculous. We're not going to be able to just go out and find a replacement for that. So I'm happy with him coming back as our starting center.
Absolutely.
Hopefully he can, again, like we said, as long as he just works on some of that hand-eye coordination and getting used to, or maybe getting new goggles or whatever he's got going on with that. But
I don't think it's the goggles, but Pascal will be a senior next year, and and he'll be back. He has a little bit of some knee issues too. I believe he has tendonitis as well. I haven't heard anything about any kind of end of the season surgery for him.
Yeah.
But he had his issues throughout the year as well.
Take the time off, rest, get off your knees, get off your feet, allow your knees to rest, and you got to just work on that hand-eye coordination, catching the ball, being strong with the ball. If he just does that, think about all the times this year when he got the ball and it got taken away from him, or he didn't catch a ball or something like that. Think of the things that could have changed in certain games if he could just catch the ball.
Yeah,
and
put it up.
It's just that easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And don't bring it down. Keep it up.
Don't bring it down. Don't
little stuff like that.
Don't put the ball on the floor under the rim
right.
like that.
You don't bring the ball down to the little guys. You're 7'2". You keep the ball up high where they can't get it.
Exactly.
So.
To wrap up the starting five from this year, we've got Marek Dijai. Now, this guy is the most improved player on the team from the beginning of the year. He's only a freshman. He's got what seems to be a high basketball IQ, if you ask me. He knows the game, and he's excellent. He really is excellent. He lacked so much confidence earlier in the year. Remember how many times he would look at the rim and pass the ball off? And you'd be like, dude, just shoot that, And he has got an awesome turnaround jumper. 10, 12 feet, somewhere around there, and almost anywhere around the rim. He just does these little flip shots.
Yep.
I love him. I'm excited for Marek to come back in his sophomore year. And, Joe, we talked about this. You think he might get slighted minutes. I think he'll be, if he doesn't start, which we'll have to see, but if he doesn't start, he'll be getting a ton of minutes. I think he still gets a lot of minutes. He could be the sixth man off the bench.
Yeah. Well, it's tough with Boeheim because he usually doesn't go that deep, man. And that's the one thing is, and I talked about it earlier this year, is there's people that are getting playing time now that might not get as much playing time next year because it all depends.
Right.
But he's also in a position where he gained so much experience and so much game experience and playing that now he's got to do a lot. All he's really got to do is the physical stuff. And he's in a position now where next year he's probably not going to be. I don't want to say he's definitely not going to get the minutes that he got this year, but he's still going to obviously play, and he's still going to be a contributor on the team and a good player off. Good. We're not going to have to worry about players getting in foul trouble and stuff like that. But he's just not going to be relied upon as much, which might make him even more dangerous next year because of the fact of him coming off the bench.
I think
and being as confident as he is.
I think you're underestimating it a little bit. I think he plays.
I'm not underestimating it. I'm not underestimating it. Darius Baisley's the number 8 ranked player. He's a 6'8" small forward. He's coming in and he's going to start opposite Brissett.
Oh yeah, he definitely
There's
will.
nowhere
I
else
agree
for
there.
Dolce to go.
I agree there. But I think he'll be put in plenty of minutes and he'll be a big contributor.
Oh well, yeah. The way that we're going to be able to play next year is going to be completely different to the way that we played this year as well too. So we're going to be able to spread out more minutes because we'll be able to play faster. And Dolce, I'll tell you what though, he will be definitely getting more minutes than Matthew Moyer next year.
Well, that brings me to Matthew Moyer. Moyer.
Ironic.
Matthew Moyer, crazy arms. He
yeah, spaz.
Holy cow. You ever see the Kermit the Frog gif? Or GIF, whatever the hell they call it, when he's like freaking out, waving his arms all over the place.
Yeah,
that's Matthew Moyer, dude.
It's like the wacky, wild, inflatable tube man.
Yeah, the tube man, totally. I don't know if Matthew Moyer stays. I'm sticking with what I originally thought. I think if he stays, he's not going to play. In my opinion, it'll be really tough for him to get minutes. Well. I think he transfers. If he comes back, I don't think he's going to be much of a contributor. And I don't know what else to really say about that. It's not like we're talking about Matthew Moyer in looking for his improvement and getting minutes next year. I don't see it. So
yeah, it's tough because sometimes you can get away with football's got so many scholarships that you can sometimes get away with kids maybe not ever really reaching to the point. I mean, it's tough because if he understands he's not going to be a professional basketball player and make a lot of money playing basketball, then maybe he wants to stay at Syracuse. Maybe his parents are going to make him tough it out. I know that the transfer there, Elijah Hughes, he was high school teammates with him. So, I'm pretty sure that they're probably good friends. So does he want to leave that situation? So who knows if he might not transfer out, but I think we're both in agreement to the fact that he's probably not going to get too many minutes next year, barring a humongous improvement or some random transfer or injury.
Yeah. Sidibe, he's going to go and have his surgery, and we wish him luck with that, obviously. Hopefully everything's cool with that and comes out okay and on the good side of that. I think, a lot of these guys after surgery, these are good doctors. I mean, they're not sending these kids to some scrub doctors.
No, God, no.
So I think it's gonna work out, man. I think Sidibe and Chukwu, I think they'll both be healthier next year. I think they're gonna get the rest they need. They know what they need to do, and we haven't gotten to really seen Barama play yet without pain.
Right, and he does look like he's a little bit better with his hands and a little bit better around the rim and scoring. His footwork leaves, but I mean, I think it's the same. We've never really relied. If you look back in history for Syracuse, I mean, they have had some good centers: Etan Thomas, Derek Coleman, come to mind, Ronnie Cycli, but that was a little while ago. I mean, Onuwaku was pretty good, but I mean, when we won the national championship, we had Craig Forth. Fab Mello, he was good, but he was DQ'd and couldn't play in the tournament. So we've never really relied on a center that could score. What we've relied on is a center that could be just a disruptive force on defense in the middle and rebound and just be a problem. Yeah. And that's what Chukwu and Sidibe are. So they got to get healthy. They have both got to pretty much work on the same stuff, like the mental aspect of getting the ball near the basket where you're not putting the ball down low and you got your footwork down and you're not traveling and you just put it back up, catch the ball, footwork. That's all we need. These guys don't have to be monsters. They're not going to be Dwight Howard or Shaquille O'Neal. They just got to clog the middle. Two centers with 5 fouls that are going to just make every dang shot near the basket difficult.
Smack the ball.
Right. And as long as they work on the little stuff like their hands, their footwork, the mental aspect of just being around the basket with the ball, then, I mean, we're fine. We're going to be in better position, I feel like, than we were this year. We saw what we had with those two this year, and now Sidibe's going to be healthy, and it's going to give him an extra year to work on the stuff that's glaringly obvious that they need to work on.
All right. Howard Washington, he went out earlier this year with, what was it, ACL? And he's had his surgery, and he was taken out for the rest of the year because of that. He's sitting on the bench watching the games. And we didn't get to see a whole lot of him either this year. No. But, he helped out when we were in foul trouble. He put in decent minutes. I mean, I don't know what else we expected out of him, right? So he'll most likely be back next year, barring a transfer. But he's from Buffalo, and he grew up a Syracuse fan. Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere either. But I just thought I'd throw it out there. So, I mean, what did you see really? Did we see enough this year to really gauge a Howard Washington coming back as a junior? Or sophomore, excuse me.
I don't know if you can gauge his potential, but I think I saw enough. To speak for me personally, I thought that he was going to redshirt all the way. But then, the stuff that happened. People left and got hurt, and he had to step up. He was the third guard with a scholarship on the team. So, but what I did see a player that, he's obviously needs to get a little bit bigger, work on his physical attributes as far as, faster, lateral movement, getting stronger. But he looked pretty confident when he was out there this year.
So.
He wasn't like nervous to shoot open jumpers, and that's only going to get better as well. Right. And with this year, I think again, it's almost going to be a blessing in disguise with some of these players. I mean, Moyer, he can't redshirt, and Dolce probably won't because he can just contribute. But the minutes that these guys have, just like Washington being able to play, that's good experience. And then you're going to go into next year where mean, you're going to have 2 more years where you can just get physically ready, because next year he's probably not going to play. He tore his ACL late, and sometimes that takes a little while to come back from. And by the time he's even probably going to be cleared to play, you're talking the season's probably going to be close to being started. So it would not surprise me in the least bit if Howard Washington does actually redshirt next year, considering that we do have a guard, a couple guys coming in that's probably going to be able to play over him anyway. So
yeah, it's just,
that's where I see him. But at the end of the day, you're talking about after next year, he's going to be a redshirt sophomore, and I think he's going to be a lot more physically ready and mature enough. And he's definitely, I don't know about starting, but he's definitely going to be a guard that's going to be able to come off the bench. A Scoop Chardine or a Josh Pace type comes to mind. Some guys that might not start till later in their career, but they're definitely contributors, and that's the kind of guy that I feel like he's going to turn into. So
yeah, it's probably a good comparison later in the career, like a Scoop. He's only 6'3", so
right.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we've got last on this year's roster, we got Elijah Hughes, transfer. So
Sitting out. Yep.
Yeah, we haven't seen him play, obviously, college ball. But I guess he's got tape out there, but he hasn't played for us. But so I mean, what do we know? What do we know about Elijah Hughes? I will tell you one thing. I know he is pumped to play.
Oh yeah,
I know that. So
especially sitting out and watching.
Yes,
there was
exactly.
There was an article throughout the year when he saw the guys struggling and all those minutes being played, knowing that he could help on the bench, but obviously he's ineligible. So that was very frustrating for him. I know that he was interested in Syracuse, and he was a late bloomer in high school, and we actually didn't take him because Tyus Battle took a scholarship. So if Tyus Battle didn't take a scholarship, then it probably would have ended up going to him. He went to East Carolina for a year. He broke his foot early in the basketball practice in the season, and he missed a certain amount of games. I think he only played in about 20 games, averaged like 9 points, had some good ones, but he was a little inconsistent. He gained some weight after he had broken his foot, so he wasn't really in playing shape. But then he got homesick, so he decided to transfer, and that's when we decided to take that on. And there's just been nothing but rave reviews about him since he's been there. I mean, he's 6'5", 6'6", somewhere between 190 to 200 pounds. He's a physical guard. And again, he was a late bloomer in high school. That's why he didn't really get recruited too high. He was a 3-star, but there's a lot of people saying that that even coming into the Midnight Madness and just practicing this year, that he was one of the better players on the court. So he's definitely someone to look forward to, and I don't know where he's going to fit in depending on who comes back, but it's definitely somebody we could have definitely used coming off the bench this year. That's for sure.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we've got a few new faces coming in besides Elijah Hughes. We haven't seen him much. He's a new face too. Darius Baisley.
They well, first, I'm going to start by saying that looking at 247 Sports, right now we have the 23rd ranked class. We've fallen a little bit because we haven't added anybody. But Darius Baisley, he's a 5-star, 6'9", 200 pounds, small forward. He's ranked 8th nationally, and he's just a force to be reckoned with. He can drive the ball. He can shoot. He's he's definitely going to be a guy that can come in and contribute right away. And like I said, I mean, I love Dolce, and depending on how this Baisley kid comes in and learns this zone, then maybe Dolce he'll start maybe early in the season. Maybe they'll use Baisley as the 6th man like we did with Deion Waiters when he came in. But this is going to be a tough guy to keep off the court.
Yeah, it's exciting, right? I mean,
yeah, yep.
So
it's definitely exciting.
6'3" guard Jalen Carey.
He's another guy that's going to come in, and this is the reason why I think that Howard Washington is going to be able to redshirt next year, especially with being freshly off that ACL injury, but also probably the reason why some people aren't going to have as big a leash this year, next year as they did this year. like we talked about, there's a lot of times where in the past a player makes a bad play, you take him right out, and then you see that happen every once in a while with Chukwu and Sidibe and Moyer and Dolce or something like that. But Howard, Washington, Battle, all those guys, like it didn't matter what they did, they weren't coming out. And next year, with Elijah Hughes and Jalen Carey coming in, it's not going to be the case.
Right, absolutely.
So this guy, he's a 4-star, 6'3", 170-pound point guard. He's ranked 56th in the class, and again, like I said, he's definitely going to be a guy that's going to be coming in and helping out and contributing.
All right. Well, then we've got old Buddy. We got Buddy Boeheim, 6'5" guard.
Yep.
Does Buddy? What are the chances of? I'm not sure if we talked about this on the show or privately, but does Buddy Boeheim maybe redshirt because of? I
think a lot of and we talk about this, and we can only talk about it with what we know right now. I think some of this conversation, some of these opinions that I have would change depending on who stays and if people leave and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if everybody comes back, I think that Buddy Boeheim absolutely redshirts. I don't see a reason why he wouldn't, just to be able to get himself a little bit more physically prepared.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's going to be a wing guy. I don't know if he's going to be. I don't know about his lateral quickness up top. And they say that he might grow another 1 or 2 inches. So he gets to 6'6", 6'7", with some of his wingspan that he's got, because he is kind of long arms, lengthy kid, and he can shoot the ball. So obviously, if you can shoot the ball and get dangerous, but I don't think it's one of those things where he's not going to play just because he's the coach's kid. If we got players out there, usually Boeheim doesn't like to go 8 or 9 deep usually anyway. So,
I mean, probably 8 is good for Boeheim, I think. I mean, coming off of a season where you got like 6.5, 8.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what it's going to be, because like I said, it all comes down to who comes back.
Yeah.
Because if Howard and Battle come back, they're starting.
Well, Howard's coming back. I don't see a reason why he wouldn't.
Right, but I'm saying if everyone comes back, you're talking about a Howard and Battle with Brissett, Chukwu, and probably Baisley.
Right.
And then you're also talking about Jalen Carey, Elijah Hughes, Dolce, and Sidibe. Obviously, Sidibe would come in for Chukwu, but you're talking about trying to fit in. Where's Hughes going to go? Are we going to try to fit him in on the wing and go small and put some shooters in? Or is he going to come in for Battle and Howard? And then Jalen Carey, what's he going to do? So there's a lot of question marks. And obviously, I mean, there's a lot of good depth there. But, I mean, with that right there, you're talking 9 deep. And the possibilities are endless as far as how you can change the way that you coach and play your game. And like I said, I highly, highly doubt that if everyone comes back with this amount of talent that we're going to be playing the games that we did, the little slow the pace down freaking rock fights that we played in this year. So
it was like a lot of people complain, oh, it's terrible to watch. I just became so accustomed to it that I didn't think it was hard to watch at all.
No, because you have to look at it realistically. Just because you might play a certain way or this or that, like you have to. Sometimes the hand is dealt the way that it's dealt. You have 7 players, inexperienced,
limiting offensive possessions for the other team. I mean, you have no choice. Exactly.
So there's been teams just like this before, and a coach is smart when they change the way that they play to the personnel that they have. If their personnel can't play the way you normally play, you got to figure out the best way to win, and then you make it happen. So this year it was ugly. Fans of Syracuse probably didn't want to watch it, but
I thought it was great.
Well, once you realize, once you understand that this is what it is, that there's a method to the madness. So why are we doing it this? Why are we doing that? Like, because that's what we have to do to win.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we can play all fast and huck jump shots and we'll lose by 20. I mean, what do you want to do?
Yeah, instead of Duke, shoot 51. They put up 51 shots from the floor. They'd be putting up 71, easy. You play it. You play at a pace like that. So, and that's why they
You
did.
just
They have
can't
no
do
offense.
it. You got to play
Yeah.
to your personnel, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings me to this. The coaching this year, I thought was amazing, especially down the stretch in the tournament. I mean, Joe, you've mentioned it, and you and I have had a lot of private discussions about the Boeheim bashing all season. Like, you people realize that this is probably, I'm going to go ahead and say it, this is probably his second best coaching job of his career. At least that I can remember. Growing, I've been watching Syracuse basketball since I can remember, before I even knew what the hell was going on. So, second best besides the national championship has got to be first. You won a national championship. What he did with this team this year was amazing. I think it was absolutely amazing, and Boeheim gave all the credit to the kids last night in the press conference, but he's not a Hall of Fame coach because he's been around for 40-something years. He's a Hall of Fame coach,
and he's had runs like
great.
this. We've had runs like this before, expected and unexpected, but there was always deeper, more experienced, better teams overall.
Right.
Even if you look at the 96 run that we had with John Wallace, Otis Hill, those guys, we might not have had the best players, but that was a senior-laden team.
Yeah.
That was an old, experienced team. So, again, we could talk about it all day long, but definitely, like you said, it's hard-pressed to find another season where he had a comparable team that did as good, because he hasn't had a team like this for a while. So,
yeah, not to his own doing too. I mean, it's just circumstantial.
you got all these Syracuse fans that are upset, and they're talking about NITs the last couple of years and calling for Jim Boeheim's head. I mean, all you have to do is just look back at before these sanctions. You look back 5 years ago, year before Tyler Ennis was there, we made a Final Four run and lost to Michigan in the Final Four. Next year, we had Tyler Ennis. We started off 25-0. I think we were ranked number 1 at some point. So you're talking about right there. We're at the top. We're one of the better teams in the country. All of a sudden, these sanctions come along next year. We take ourselves out of the postseason. It was Rakeem Christmas's senior year. So, and then we get, we have the sanctions, NCAA, everything. So people are looking down. What happens the next year? We make the tournament as a 10 seed, go to the Final Four. I mean, you just look at it, and it's the next year. Last year, we had some great teams or some great games, but we didn't make it NIT bid. Then this year we come back, kind of a bubble team again. Bubble team 3-4 years in a row.
Bubble schmubble.
But we get in, and what do? Make a run to the Sweet 16. So I mean, you have all these teams calling for Jim Boeheim's head. We fought sanctions, we fought scholarship reductions, and within the last, you look at the last 6 tournaments, and we still, throughout all that, have made 2 Final Fours and a Sweet 16. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we lost in the second round the one year when we had Tyler Ennis. So we've only missed the tournament 2 times, and one of it was self-imposed. And we still made these runs with all these limitations and only 10 scholarships available. And this year we only had 7 scholarship players. So I just don't understand, why people are walking to the ledge on the Syracuse team and Jim Boeheim and everything. And again, now our sanctions are over with. We've filled our punishment, and now we have a class coming in next year. So if we have certain people that stay and then this class comes in, I think that it's comes full circle back to, right where we were with Tyler Ennis and, the Final Four team the year before that, and teams with CJ Fair. And it just looks like we're going to be fine coming through these sanctions. We had some rough seasons, but if those past 3 seasons,
season,
like I said, we self-imposed. And then the last 3 years, we've been bubble teams, albeit we've been bubble teams. 1 year we didn't make it. We're the last team out. Another year we were the last team in. Another year we were a 10 seed, made a Final Four, made a Sweet 16. So how can you complain?
Hell of a coaching job.
That's what I mean. Hell of a coaching job. And as a fan, how can you complain? You have to be able to look at it and see.
It's because of the dynamic, the how we had to play the games this year. And we touched on that. And that's what it was this year. It was how they had to play the games. This wasn't the Syracuse team we're used to seeing. We usually have some kind of offense. And we were all defense this year. And it was just a different dynamic, and it I think it confused a lot of people. It confused us at first a little bit. I mean, you're used to a specific type of play, and then when you realize, wow, this team's just really not that good offensively,
Right.
and then you start to get it, and that's why he coaches and we talk about it.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, hey, stay positive. I think that we do our best to stay positive. I think we're realistic. I don't think we're I don't think we're
overly
so,
homerish.
Yeah, I don't think we're so orange that we can't see the truth about certain things, and we're objective enough to realize, to our own to criticize our own team in a fair manner. So,
Right.
All right, Joe, well, I want to end with this. I think it was a great season for us. I love basketball season, and it's what this podcast started as. We do football, too. Joe loves football season. So we will be doing the football season. We're always going to be doing episodes. They're not going to be, obviously, there's no games to be played, but there will be episodes, so the best thing you can do is subscribe to whatever platform you listen on, and we'll be right there in your directory or your library. And I want to thank Joe. I could never do this show with anybody else but Joe. And
Oh, stop it.
he's awesome. I'm making him blush. I'm not trying to be mushy, but I love Joe. He's awesome. I've known Joe since he was knee-high to a grasshopper, and I used to be able to tie his ass up, and I can't do that anymore because he's way bigger than me now. But I am so fortunate to have Joe do this podcast with me, and I love him. He's great. So Joe, thanks for another.
I appreciate it, buddy. I appreciate it. I've had a great time doing it.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Over.
This we love doing the show. It ain't going anywhere. So help spread the word for us.
And we got spring football and football recruiting news, so we'll be okay. A little bit of lacrosse, we'll sprinkle it in there.
Yeah,
beat Duke today.
Beat Duke today. It's a decent consolation prize, I guess. I was pretty excited. So
that's our door prize. It's our
right.
Participation trophy.
Yeah, participation trophy. That's right. So that's it. Basketball season's wrapped up. We will be back. We're gonna do the NCAA episode for the investigation. We'll probably do some other things here and there. So be on the lookout. We'll be around. We'll be on Facebook. We'll be on Twitter. So that's it for Joe. I'm Sean. We are out.
Go Cuse.
You just heard the Cuse Nation podcast with Sean and Joe.